to Brandstand. I'm your host Zara, and I have an amazing set of people on the show to speak about, well, modern day teddy bears. The familiar object that gives you a sense of belonging. Here is mine, gathering my entire world in one place. We have with us Abhishek from Grey Group, we have Tarun from Lava Mobiles, and we have Nomit from Gioni India. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you for being here. Before we started rolling this episode, Abhishek was telling me something very interesting about a paper he's been working on. Abhishek, you want to start with that, of how we are a very experimenting economy. This is outstanding, this phrase, experimenting economy. What is that?
Yeah, so as a country, we have seen incremental changes in the past, say, 10 years, 20 years ago. What we have seen now, and largely as a function of internet and mobile, is that it has taken a larger shift in the way people live their lives, experiment with things, right? Whether it is holiday, buying shopping for fashion, hairstyle, relationships, it's all around experimentation, right? A whole lot of experimentation is taking place. It's almost becoming an experimentative economy, if you were to talk that as a word. Brands are delving into these newer cracks of experimentation, which have opened up as a conversation. And I think the question largely is that what are the brands really going to do with these cracks, essentially?
So Tarun, do you want to take this question?
First, if you look at the emergence of new players like Lava, I think players which were almost non-existent, let's say 5 years back, I think this is a testimony to the fact that now people are willing to experiment with a lot of new players which are probably offering good proposition across the end consumers. Second, I think a lot of tectonic shift is also happening in the content creation. Content is being generated by the youth of today. Content is being consumed by the youth of today. And hence, the entire content creation has gone through a sea change in the last couple of years. Second, I think there have been, and I think Abhishek also touched upon this point, which is channels of content consumption. YouTube was not a major force in content consumption, let's say 5 years back. However, today, I think channels like YouTube have given the power to the youth to consume the kind of content that they would want to consume and at the time that they would want to consume it. So I think these are newer business models, newer industries that are coming in on the back of this experimentative economy that the youth of today is embarrassing.
So to grow as a business model, it's very important to play in numbers, you know, to go out and sell. I would want to touch a little on the flash sales that Lava would say, I would say believe in. Do you believe in that concept? Days of deals?
This phenomenon of hugely subsidizing the products is not something that is sustainable forever.
Abhishek, as an advertising person, do you want to speak about how important the online area of advertising and marketing and selling products is? Do you want to speak about that?
The market or advertising or communication per se is in a metamorphosis stage where it is getting together. So you can't say an ATL is something else and BTL is something else. Today, everything is an engagement with your consumer. Are you doing a conversation which will lead to advocacy of your brand? Or are you just talking about selling your products, which is what flash sales are? I think it is about getting that, huge number of discounts going and getting people to experience the product.
Sure. So we agree it's not a sustainable model of selling. But, you know, when I was deciding content for this show, there were a lot of friends and colleagues and family members who came up and said that, cell phone companies, they are so engrossed in just selling out their products to such a great extent that sometimes they do not have the energy or the resources left to take care of what happens after the sales. So if I have a problem with my phone, I don't know whom to go to. Nomit, would you want to take that question? About how do you deal with after-sale services?
You know, vision in place that by 2015, we should solve all the queries within 72 hours after receiving the handset or receiving the complaint from the consumer. If you are not able to do it, we have to replace the handset.
This is a very aggressive plan that you've been trying to address. Tarun, is there something that your company is also doing?
So there is absolutely no doubt on the fact that service, after sales service, is going to be one of the key pillars that any company which is operating in this category or maybe other categories as well would need to focus on in case they have to survive in the longer run. So if you look at Lava right now, we have a team of more than 100 people who are working in service, and we have a network of more than 1,000 service centers which are spread pan-India. Having said that, are we happy with the kind of service and the quality of service that we're delivering across to our consumer today? Maybe not. And hence, this is one of the key focus areas that we are focusing on heavily so as to ensure that we are able to provide the best service across to the end consumer. And I'm sure we are going to make this happen.
Sure.
Also, just to add my bit on this is that the if you look at the overall category, and if you look at the total numbers purely, and the amount of, what is the penetration of the category right now? The category is growing phenomenally, because right now, not everybody in the country has yet experienced a smartphone or a touch phone, right, until now. Therefore, the focus of the entire category is about evaluation and purchase, right? Going forward, I think maybe that will be the time of maturity, and that is happening now in urban centers. You would see experiential and advocacy-led engagements, and probably that is where service, quality, referral, and all of this will essentially be more boosted and built on as a brand. Initial experience was, I think, for any brand or any category would be to actually sell more, to make people to evaluate more options. And that's actually a category function if you look at it. It's not a function of any brand as of now, the times we are in right now.
It's time for a short break now. Stay tuned. You're back to Brandstand, the place we discuss marketing, branding and so much more. And we have today Nomit from Gioni, we have Tarun from Lava Mobile, and we have Abhishek from Grey Worldwide. And since I am the only lady in the room, I'm going to take that risk of saying that I have seen men spend most of their money on just two things. One is gadgets and the other one is cars. So I have an amazing car commercial lined up for you. Here's, take a look at this TVC. So we have Mr. Vivek Nair from Mahindra & Mahindra joining us from Bombay. Thank you, Vivek, for being here. My first question to you would be, what is new about the all-new Scorpio?
It's a very clutter-breaking communication. It's not been seen on television before. And this was the primary brief to the agency. There was also a secondary brief, second objective that we wanted to portray, which was to show the hero doing good. You know, increasingly the feedback that we get from customers, and this is the sort of trend that we see around us, is that a hero is not what a hero looks, a hero is what the hero does. So in this film, the sequence of our Scorpio hero helping the horse out of that mud, that swamp, is an act of goodness, and that was built into the commercial to reflect that. After TVCs, do you think that there is a shift in the way advertisers engage, especially on the digital platform? Do you have something to say about digital engagement of brands?
It's merging. I think really digital and ATL traditionally, now it's all merging. I think I would see in future probably an advertising agency would be having a content person sitting in it, a UI person sitting in it, a copywriter sitting in it, and you know, a brands person sitting in it together, right? Same would be probably happening for a marketing department going forward, right? Where conversations will take place, because you are not touching the consumer through only a television, you know, TVC today alone.
Vivek, how much importance do you give at Mahindra & Mahindra to digital marketing? Any highlights that you'd want to share with us?
Oh, if I talk about highlights, after the launch of the new generation Scorpio, we were number 1 on Facebook, we were number 2 on Google search, and we were number 8 on Twitter trends. So that tells you how important digital is and social media is for us. Starting from the pre-launch actually, so 1 week before the actual launch, we had a contest running, which was guess how the new generation Scorpio will be revealed in its new television commercial. And that contest generated something like 26,000 entries in a space of hardly a week. I just want to add that we have a huge number of fans on Facebook. Scorpio page on Facebook has about 3 million fans. So anything that we do, we get instant feedback from our fans, and the fans loved it.
Nomit, how do you feel about this digital ecosystem that Abhishek is speaking about so enthusiastically, that's the future, you have to be there?
Yeah, it may be a possibility that once the reach of your internet penetration goes bigger, your TV spends will come down.
Sure.
Because not only internet gives you the opportunity to get a bigger duration of the mind space of the consumer, because you can have various things over there.
Tarun, how about Lava? How do you compare digital advertising versus the more traditional form?
In our category, a lot of people, right, maybe even you, if you're trying to evaluate a particular smartphone, maybe the first thing that you would do is probably go online and probably search for a review of that particular product.
And in
case other tech people and in case your peer group is probably not speaking positively about that particular product, I think the product would have very, very limited chances of success.
Yeah.
So I think these are some developments that are happening, and I think digital, as we speak, is going to become an important part in how we approach this particular medium.
Yeah. Abhishek, I feel that the digital, using digital media as a way to reach out to your consumers also has gotten a lot of us closer together. So the gap between a metropolitan developed city and a developing city has lessened.
That's right.
We are almost there.
Yes.
How do you look at those two markets when it comes to, say, let's start with Lava?
As the prices of smartphones are coming down, right, there are a lot of people in tier 2, tier 3 markets that are now looking at upgrading from a feature phone to a smartphone.
Sure.
And hence, Lava as a brand would continue to be important in tier 2 and tier 3 markets.
How do you think tabs are doing? Because people who have smartphones are now thinking, why not? Let me get a bigger screen. Let me see how a tab works.
I think the way we are looking at tablets, I think enterprise segment is a very, very key propeller of growth as far as the tablet category goes.
Yeah.
So B2B is going to be important as far as the tablet market is concerned.
Vivek, how do you look at the developing cities? I want you to speak about rural penetration of your brand. How do you approach that topic?
Well, rural is an important segment. It's a growing segment. And as you know, Mahindra has good standing in semi-urban rural markets. And it's a continuous journey. We keep expanding our footprint. And, rural will continue to drive growths into the future. Urban is also very important, as you can imagine. So, you have to straddle both segments. You have to get the urban consumer on your side as well as get the rural consumer on your side, and your products have to be relevant to both markets.
Vivek, I want to ask you, comparing an Indian with an international brand, there's always more prestige associated with the international brand. As an Indian, how long do you think I would take, or India as a culture would take, to be able to chase an Indian brand? Are we already chasing it? And if not, how do we get there?
Well, actually, I don't agree with that statement at all. I mean, the example in front of you is Scorpio. Scorpio has been ruling the roost for the last 12 years, and it's an Indian brand which we have created. And you have all the multinationals of the world, all the multinational companies are in India competing in the marketplace, and Scorpio has gone from strength to strength, and it's an iconic brand.
Lava is an Indian brand, Tarun. How do you feel about that? Do you think we'll reach that stage?
The kind of business that we're doing in the smartphone today is a testimony to the fact that a lot of people who are probably not looking at Lava earlier are now looking and considering and actually purchasing a Lava smartphone.
Abhishek, do you want to add to that? How long, or if at all, if that would happen?
This is a cultural change that need to take place for it. Or because brands actually delve into culture of any particular reality that it exists in and build on it. It's almost parasitic. I mean, brands actually are parasitic in that way. They pick up a culture, then they ride that culture, and it basically becomes popular because of that. Until that pride is established beyond just brand, right? But in the environment, with culture, socio-political situation, right? And economic indicators. The time we are, proud about ourselves as Indians, that's when you will actually have a lot more Indian brands, and not just in this category, but I think other categories as well. And I think with the time is not very far away, the way we are moving on.
Absolutely. So we are going into a short break now. We'll be back very soon. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Brandstand with me, Zara. I have with me Nomit from Gioni. I have Tarun from Lava and Abhishek from Grey Group. I want to speak now. I want to speak about the newest that is going to be in terms of mobiles and the operating systems. Tarun, let me start with you. How do you feel about the Android one? Do you look forward to it? What is your view?
Whole mass of people, huge number of people who are currently owning a feature phone and they're wanting to upgrade to a smartphone. So I think this focus by Google, not just on the product front, but product plus R&D plus whatever investments are going into the communication. I think this would help more people upgrade from a current feature phone to a smartphone.
Sure.
Having said that, I think because the hardware, the software is going to be the same, and hence I think the onus of differentiating their product from competition is going to lie with the brand. For example, if you see the performance of the 3 players who came up with their Android One offerings, I think the performance was very, very different, right? So some of the players were able to sell, some of the players were not able to sell.
So Abhishek, tell me, do you think that Android One could be the beginning of this new wave that is going to be in terms of cell phones? Would you say that?
From a consumer and from a sense of what people would be expecting, I think it's going to be huge. And any brand that really takes advantage of this, for sure will gain a lot, to my mind. I mean, considering if you pick up numbers and if you look at internet and considering that mobile drives internet in India, where 180 million people use internet on as compared to, I mean, total where the people are using 240 plus million people are internet users.
It's a huge figure.
Yeah, so 180 million people using it. And going forward, that's only going to increase. So, I mean, the projection is that about 80% of internet usage in the country would be in next 2 to 3 years will happen through mobile. And Google is essentially that wave. And any brand that becomes that access to internet becomes a big brand in India, to my mind.
Okay. Now, I'm inclined to ask you, which handset do you use? What is your favorite Gionee handset? And why do you like it so much?
Right now I'm using the slimmest phone in the world.
Wow.
It's S5.5.
Makes me jealous.
At Gionee, we welcome a new user every 7 seconds.
Ding dong dong, ding dong da dong, ding dong dong, ding da dong dong.
The whole phone is made out of one metal sheet.
Sure.
Okay, and it has got a glass finish behind it. So it is completely metal and glass, 98% in this device. So that is something which we created.
Yeah, it's thin and it's solid, it's strong. Yeah. Is there an upgrade that I could expect on this phone sometime soon?
Yeah, I think in November we will be launching a further slimmer phone in the market.
Wow.
So,
is that even possible?
Yeah, and trust me, this phone comes with a Guinness World Book of Records.
How about you, Tarun? What is the phone that you use?
The phone that I'm carrying right now is a Lava Iris X5 smartphone.
It's Nisha! Oh, Nisha! Hello? It's me.
Where are you?
I can't make it.
Seriously?
Feeling really sick.
Liar.
High fever. Oh! Wait, check this out.
103? Oh, you poor thing.
For crystal clear selfies, Lava Iris X5.
I think one of the key features that this phone has, and I think there's a communication that's going on currently, is the ability to take great selfies, very, very clear selfies. The core insight in this case was that the consumer of today, the youth of today, they wish to take a lot of selfies, right? There's a selfie craze going on, right?
So you built, this is phenomenal. You built a product around something which was getting so popular.
Correct. Yeah. So once we identified that there's an unmet need of the consumer as far as selfie goes, and the youth of today wants to take selfies and probably upload them on social media platforms, share across with their friends, we worked across with the partners very, very closely to come up with a phone that would satisfy this particular need. Yeah. And I think if you look at the response of this particular phone on the back of this communication that's going on currently, we are absolutely short on stock. There's a huge demand.
About communication strategies, what is the way forward? Where do you see yourself going?
Sure.
What is, if you could share ad spends, that would also be great, but more in terms of the strategy that you'd be employing.
Sure. So in terms of total spends, we are looking at spending in excess of 220 odd crores this particular year. And I think the 3 channels that are going to be extremely important for us. So TV is going to be the lead medium. And I think sports as a genre has acceptability across India, cuts through age groups, and hence TV is going to be the lead medium.
Yeah.
In addition to TV, I think Lava as a company is correctly structured to do a great job of execution at the retail level. So we have a huge man force of almost 1,000 distributors and our sales team, and hence we are rolling out a BTL below the line rollout across more than 40,000 outlets as we speak, and I think this kind of a scale is unprecedented for any other Indian player. And third is the digital, which is going to play a very, very key role as far as engagement goes. I've spoken about that earlier.
How were you able to develop a product on something that was so much in popular culture? Abhishek, I want your insight on what is this magic?
I think it's about timing. I think an innovation which is either before time or after time is actually does not stay relevant. And this product innovation or this and using a campaign strategy on the idea of selfie, which is now relevant, and having a product and having a distribution. So it's actually probably a very well knit strategy of distribution and of communication strategy that has taken place in this regard, and I think for them it must be working very well.
Sure. Just one more thought.
Yeah,
so
please.
once we are able to crack the consumer thought right, it is very, very important to translate that into a product feature. And I think because Lava is correctly structured as far as that goes, because we have a team of more than 500 engineers who are working with us both in China and Bangalore, and hence once we are able to crack a consumer thought and unmet need, we are correctly structured to convert that into actual product that can fulfill that particular need.
It's a wrap for now. Thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. You can write into us at brandstand@zmedia.slgroup.com. Thank you so much for watching.